We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180, 1230 KGEO, 1410 KERI, and now in 1000 KKIM in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And our guest by phone is author, radio host, chairman of the Reagan Group, Michael Reagan.
You know, I really like talking to Michael because he's got an opinion on everything.
You think so? I think Mike has to come out of his shell a little bit.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm working on it.
A little reserved.
I'm working on it.
So, Mike, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about the gun control. I mean, to me, this is somewhat of a joke because I don't know any criminals that respect gun-free zones. I mean, that's an oxymoron on the surface of it. And what do you think of Biden being the pitchman for the administration?
Well, that's of course he's going to choose Biden because Biden was, when he was in the Senate of the United States, was writing laws and what have you. But I mean, let's look at what happened with the President of the United States and what's going on. What happens is you put these kids behind you. You do a press conference. You bring the parents of those who children lost their lives, there at Sandy Hook Elementary 30-some-odd days ago. You bring them in and what have you. And you say all these wonderful things. But what you're not saying to these people is this, that none of the things I'm putting in place today, none of them would have saved the life of one of those children at Sandy Hook, wouldn't have saved the life of anybody in Aurora, Colorado, would have saved the life of anybody there in Arizona. None of these laws would have done that. In fact, in Sandy Hook, remember, the laws worked. The man tried to buy a weapon twice that week, both times turned down because they did a background check on him. Then what did he do? He went home, stole his mother's guns, and shot his mother, and then went to the school to do his damage. So none of these things that they're putting in place, they're eye candy to make people feel as if they're safer, but they're not safer. Ask the people in Chicago, but the gun laws in Chicago, how's that working out for everybody? They have the strictest gun laws in the world in Chicago, but look what's happening every weekend in Chicago or anytime during the week. And that's what's sad about this, is the dishonesty to pretend you're doing something when in fact you're not doing anything.
More people were killed in Chicago by guns last year than were killed in Afghanistan and Iraq combined.
Yeah.
Wow.
But again, why weren't we outraged by that? Why weren't we outraged by that? You almost get the feeling that you really do have a racist president of the United States and a racist Congress. Because you look at the people dying in Chicago, black. No, do we do anything? No. Kids at Sandy Hook, white. Do we do anything? We do everything on the planet. Look at this. Look at all the things. Look at Katrina. What we did with Katrina, passing. Oh, that money got down to New Orleans quicker than you and I can blink, right? Who were the people being hurt? Blacks. Look what happened in New Jersey and New York with Hurricane Sandy. They're still waiting for their money. It was just voted on this week.
Yes.
Still waiting. Why? Most of the people there are white. You could make an argument that, in fact, the Congress of the United States and this president have racist, policies towards America.
Yeah, you could make that analogy, but I'm not sure it's going to go very far.
It may not go far, but it's fun on the show, isn't it?
It's a great analogy. On the gun control.
Am I right?
No, you're right.
Hit by Hurricane Sandy White,
yeah.
They're still waiting for their money. Katrina's still getting money.
Yeah.
Well, too much pork in that Sandy bill.
Are the kids in Chicago being shot and killed black?
Yes. So
was there anybody doing a press conference when they were being killed?
Nope.
No.
Hey, we've even given up on Benghazi.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
As my wife said this morning, if I'm Asian, I'm really mad because all the children being represented with the President of the United States this morning, you had black, you had the Hispanic, you had the white crew. You had no Asians.
Oh boy!
We're having a conversation with author, chairman of the Reagan Group, Michael Reagan. So, Michael, another article you had that I noticed on Facebook that I thought was fascinating was from Red State. They were talking about, I guess, in the last month, this organization called Buckeye Farmers Association or Framers Association. Buckeye Firearms Association. They had
association. Well, that's what happens.
That's my own handwriting. It's my own handwriting. But in the last month, they've had 1,000 educators apply for some armed weapon training.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so here's my question
and
for you.
about 60% of them from public schools.
Right. Yeah, I saw that in the article. So you've got that kind of turnout, and then, there's really no monitor as far as how many guns are being sold, but you can tell by the background checks, there's more background checks now than ever. So, people are saying, hey, we're afraid of what, the feds are going to do to us. My question is, do you think this is going to translate to maybe us waking up in 2014 or 2016 for the elections?
It's. Let me tell you something. It's going to be very tough to win back a Senate, win back a presidency, when indeed your campaign is elect me, I'll get rid of Obamacare. Elect me, and all these other things. And what happens? You now have more takers than givers. And it's going to be very, very tough unless you have a very strong leader. And the Republican Party today is devoid of strong leadership. We have pretty faces, but we have no strong leadership. We have no voice out there. The liberals have a voice. They have a leader. Name is Barack Obama. You cannot sit there and look at the Republican Party and say the same thing. And until we have that person that can match that and go above it, we're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Well, the Democrats have some pretty faces. They have Pelosi, Boxer, and Feinstein.
Yeah, but they're not running for president in 2016.
Fortunately.
Redefine pretty faces.
I mean, the conservatives can't get together in a phone booth.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and liberals are led by ideology. Mm-hmm. Conservatives are always looking for that leader to lead them. And when you do not have that leader, then they all go to their different corners and run their own little operations. And conservatives do not work well together. Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example. When Rush Limbaugh had his hearing loss, everybody's worried about Rush. Mm-hmm. You think conservatives were praying for Rush? No, the conservatives were praying they'd have his time slot. I mean, that's the reality of it. I worked at Premier Radio at the time with my show. They were getting calls every day, people wanting his time slot. They weren't saying, I'm calling because I care about Rush and I'm praying for Rush and I'm hope that the healing to his ear is fine so he can stay on the radio. No, they said, how long will he be gone? Can I have that 3 hours? Is he gone for good? I'd like to send you a tape. I'd like to have his time slot. That's what conservatives ultimately do. They're always looking to take your place instead of trying to work with you. They're trying to take your spot.
Well, we obviously need another, man like your father out there, but and unfortunately there may be someone in the horizon. Do you think?
Don't look for Ronald Reagan. I gave a speech down in Florida, the David Horowitz's Restoration Weekend, just after the election and just prior to Thanksgiving. 400 people in that room, and people were all check writers and stuff like that. And I said to them, you need to quit talking about Ronald Reagan and embrace who Ronald Reagan was. Ronald Reagan embraced people. He was a person who was inclusive, not exclusive. And I said, maybe a better way for me to explain that to everybody in this room is, would all the blacks please stand up? Oh, there aren't any? Would please the Hispanics now rise?
Right.
Oh, there's no Hispanics either? And you think you're going to win an election? And you have we are the white party. Let's get used to it. We are the white party. Only time we talk to blacks and Hispanics is every 4 years. And that's when we say, we really care about you every 2 or 4 years, but God, when the election's over, go back to your job. I mean, we've got to embrace minorities from the beginning of the process, not at the end of the process. And when we start doing that, we'll start building. Mike Antonovich, supervisor in Los Angeles, been there for years. If you looked at Mike Antonovich's swearing in, I did the Pledge of Allegiance to a few weeks ago, and I'm a godparent to his children. I mean, it really is a microcosm of what Los Angeles, and we look like blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians, all across the board. There's no other Republican I know of who can stand in front of a room of people and have anybody but white people standing in front of them and a token black or Hispanic.
So do you see a new party being developed?
No, not a new party. You just got to rebuild this party. Oh, there'll be a new party developed if indeed the Republican Party folds on the spending cuts for the President of the United States. You bet they would be. I said in a tweet yesterday or the day before, I said, if I'm Speaker of the House, I tell the President, you know something? I listen to your press conference. I'm putting the House in recess. We're going home. When you want to talk about the debt ceiling and spending cuts, call me. I'll come back. Until then, I'm playing golf.
You know, Michael, there's I want to get on California for a second because we're in total disaster. You still working on your part-time legislator program?
Absolutely right. Talked to Shannon Grove yesterday. We are working actively right now. I'm going to go out. I have to raise the money outside the state to get the signatures on the ballot. I'll tell you why. Because Republicans and Democrats, mainly Republicans, are calling their constituents and telling them, if you give money to Mike Reagan on this part-time legislature program, we will in fact punish you in our state legislature for what you're doing. That's what the Republicans are doing to their own constituents. So I have to go outside the state, raise the money, come back into the state, and then get the signatures for a ballot measure in 2014. Yeah. And that's what I'm willing to do. I'm setting up meetings as we speak. And I'm looking for that one guy who wants to write the check for $2 million to, in fact, take care of that so it's done. I've already got commitments for $100,000 here and $25,000 there and $50,000 there. But you're not going to get there with those. You need the one guy write the check for $2 million.
Exactly.
Allows me to sit there and fund the signage, get the 807,000 signatures. Then we go out, get the other dollars, but we're qualified for the ballot.
Yep.
Shannon Grove and I are working together.
Yeah, and she's a sweetheart. She's our assemblywoman here in Kern County.
Yeah.
Michael, unfortunately, we're out of time. I would love to have you come back. Real quick, give people your website because your books are fantastic.
Well, you can go to michaelereagan.com, michaelereagan.com. That's my personal website, but Reagan.com is where we have the Reagan.com email service. $40 for the year. We don't sell your information. We don't give it to anybody. And you support Reagan values from now to the rest of the time.
Thank you, Michael. And listen, we'd love to have you back.
You got it.
We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio News Talk 1180.